So we have our next
Yes,
speaker,
Maura is
Maura.
from.
Yeah, the title will be Brand Innovation and Social Media Transformation. So she's the head of global social at Mozilla, Firefox.
Really excited to be here with you guys. And firstly, for those of you guys who are not familiar so much with the organization, I wanted to talk a little bit about Mozilla, which is the parent company of Firefox. So our mission is to ensure that the internet is a public global resource that is open and accessible to all. Mitchell Baker wrote the manifesto that guides our behaviors and our companies, not only as a corporate entity, but also as a brand when it comes to marketing. And in fact, last year she released 4 addendums to that manifesto that have really become the bedrock for how we think about being a purpose-driven brand. And one of those points is that we want to facilitate and protect and propagate an internet that truly puts people first, where individuals can shape their own experience and where everyone is empowered, safe, and independent. So Mozilla is the parent company, and Firefox differentiates Mozilla and also demonstrates the Mozilla values. And it is through the Firefox products that we're able to actually make an impact on the world. We say that our products are our tools for social change, not just our desktop product, but also our mobile browsing products, some of our extensions like Facebook Container, which actually is what I'm going to talk to you about today, and also newly acquired products like Pocket, which is a content recommendation engine, and also even our content marketing, IRL, which is a podcast that we've been running for the last 2 years and which won a Webby last year. Overall, 320 million people use our products every day, and it's through those products that we can deliver the things that we stand for. Now, what I'm here to talk to you about today, this case study for brand transformation and social marketing, is the story of how the person who is responsible for social media, which is me, asked our organization to stop using one of the largest social platforms in the world. And I'm going to tell you this case study, the ins and outs of it, and answer any questions that you have. So where this story starts is actually the beginning of the year. My colleagues and I were noticing that there was a narrative forming around backlash for Facebook. Not only were people leaving, and we were seeing actually, we use social listening to pull insights around internet health topics that we observe from a data perspective, and we were noticing that people were talking about Facebook. They were beginning to talk about their health on the internet in a way that they had not talked about before. And so not only were people beginning to say that they did not trust Facebook, but also Facebook was not really showing that it was supporting brand advertisers and marketers. We saw this reflected in our own data from a marketing perspective, that much of our activity from an organic perspective was reaching fewer and fewer people. And we were not the only ones who were seeing this. Ad Age reported that 40% of advertisers were actually thinking about how they would do an independent audit to try to understand what was happening with Facebook. So we can see that consumers are unhappy with the platform. They feel like they're being used. They don't feel like their time on Facebook is time well spent. And we can see that from a marketing perspective, there is a reduction in our efficiency of the platform. And so when we looked at what we stood for as a brand, a company that protects people's privacy, that fights for user advocacy, and then we looked at our marketing and we looked at Facebook, there was really a big disconnect. And we felt that maybe it was time to make a change. And so on March 22nd, this is an email that I screen grabbed from our CMO. We made the decision to pause all of our Facebook advertising. And we talked about the size, the centralization, their monopolistic behavior, their addictive design. Ultimately, we left because of their lack of user control and transparency. And it was something that we spent a long time debating. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as the case study unfolds. Facebook is a powerful marketing platform. It's the biggest platform in the world. It connects millions of people. To many people, Facebook is synonymous with the internet. But for us, we could not put our marketing dollars there because it did not align with what we stood for as a brand. And I have to say at this point that there was a lot of contention in the marketing organization, in fact, across the organization overall around this decision. How can we leave what is one of the most efficient social and advertising platforms? Is anybody going to care? Why are we doing this? Well, what happened next was nothing short of amazing for us. By leaving Facebook, we caused the largest press cycle for our organization in the last 3 years. People were knocking down our doors as the privacy experts to find out why we had done this, how we had done this, how Firefox represents and protects people differently, and how we could do more in protecting people's privacy, even when they are using Facebook. These are some of the results that we had. We had our executives on the news shows. We had Mitchell Baker talking to the Today Show and on CNN. This was really a powerful statement for us as a brand. Not only did we have that, but when we looked at our data for social listening, we had a 50% increase in the number of people talking about Firefox and a 200% increase in the people talking about Mozilla. So we were able to talk about our parent brand and about our product brand, which was truly very powerful for us. Not only did we make a corporate and brand statement by pulling out of Facebook, but 5 days later, only 5 days later, our engineering organization thrilled the internet by launching something we call Facebook Container, which was a Firefox extension that helps keep Facebook data isolated so that when you're visiting other places on the web, Facebook is not tracking your data and selling it back to advertisers. This was really for us where the rubber hit the road. We understand that not everybody can leave Facebook. Many countries, many people use Facebook to keep in touch with their family, to do business, and to as their main source of communication. And so we wanted to go farther and protect people that were still choosing to use Facebook by launching this container. And we had hundreds of thousands of people downloading this, talking about it, applauding the action that we had taken to actually protect people who were still going to use the social platform. I'm pointing a little bit to this timeline just to show what I think is most powerful about what we did here. Even before the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke on March 17th, we were noticing through our social data and through insights of looking at press and articles, we were noticing that there was a turning point for consumers around their privacy and around using social media networks. And we had started the conversation already internally about leaving Facebook when the Cambridge Analytica scandal broke. Because of that, only 3 days later, we were able to be the first brand that actually pulled our advertising. Mozilla's foundation also launched a petition to fight for updated app permissions within the Facebook ecosystem, something that Facebook ended up delivering on. I think our petition had somewhere over hundreds of thousands of signatures. And finally, on March 27th, after pausing our advertising on the 23rd, we launched that container. So we see represented in this timeline not just the marketing organization, but the engineering organization, our policy organization, our executives. We really worked with a number of people to get this program organized and to ensure that we had a successful launch. What are some of the other effects? Well, we had a relationship with Facebook, and we think deeply about that relationship. There were a lot of emails back and forth between their engineering team and our engineering team when we pulled our ads from Facebook, and they wanted to ensure that everything that we were saying was accurate. But if two engineering organizations can't even understand a social network's application permissions, how can we expect consumers to? We also debated whether we could do the work that we wanted to do by pulling out of Facebook. Are we becoming less relevant? How can we think about influencing something if we're not participating? We still believe that it's the right decision. And even now, as we see, Mark Zuckerberg being pulled in front of US Congress in the United States and also in Europe and testifying, we firmly believe that we did the right thing in standing by our users. I want to talk now a little bit about what we learned. Again, keeping in mind that this was the largest centralized press story for Mozilla and Firefox over the last 3 years. Well, how did we do it? What we realized is that when we have brand alignment, product fit, and relevancy with our consumers and culture, we will win every time. The timing and the value was really important. And so my team does a lot to keep track of cultural trends, especially as they pertain to the things and the brand values that we care about most. Alignment is really important as well. And this is where the conversation around Agile comes back, ensuring that we are keeping close conversations with our foundation, our policy team, even our legal team allowed us to tell that comprehensive story. Also, because we were aligned, because we were tracking these cultural moments, we were the first mover. We were the first brand to pull our advertising from Facebook, and that was hugely beneficial. It meant that every other brand that pulled their advertising, we were listed in that press coverage as well. Of course, like anything, there are things that we could have done better, and I want to tell you guys and be transparent about those things because we are an open, transparent organization. Alignment. There are a number of people in our organization that use Facebook ads, that run pages. In fact, we have a huge community of volunteers that run their own global Facebook pages on behalf of our organization. We actually told them that this was happening, and we gave them the choice as owners of their own Facebook pages to leave Facebook like we did, or to continue using that marketing channel organically without paid dollars. And many of them chose to stay because it was the main way that they were having conversations with their communities, and that's fine. We don't tell our communities what to do because there's a symbiotic working relationship. But we could have bought more alignment with our paid marketing teams, our analytics teams affected by this decision. Secondly, coordination. Like anybody who has tried to leave Facebook has realized, it is very far-reaching into our lives. And it was far-reaching into our marketing organization. It was at the bottom of email footers. It was in referrers on our website. All of those things we had to take into account once we left Facebook because we didn't want to send people to our pages. And finally, impact. When we actually did a bunch of the data polls, we saw that leaving Facebook was not a huge detriment to our download strategy for our Firefox product, but it could have been. We were not able as an organization to have a full view into the impact of what would happen before we made the decision to leave because we had to move so quickly to capitalize on timing. So what's next? How are we thinking about this moving forward? As an organization, we have discussed at length what our criteria is to returning to Facebook. how can we work with them as an organization from Mozilla's standpoint that has always represented the open web? And how can we help them to better protect users? They are not there as an organization. Just yesterday, we saw that they are getting fined for the data breaches from Cambridge Analytica scandal. And we continue to see issues and instances where they are not protecting. I think that there is more that we can do to understand culture, to understand our consumers, and to prepare ourselves to do things
Yeah.
that align our values with the things that they care about most. So I'm actually going to open it up for questions and hear what you guys have to say.
Yep. Thank you very much, Maura.
So we are opening the floor for questions now. And we do have a question here already. Shelly Ann with another question. She's going to be kicking things off, and I'm sure that we have other attendees who have questions as well.
Hello. I too was very concerned about the Cambridge Analytica scenario with Facebook. So I would really love it if you could give us a little bit more information about the, what do you call it, the Facebook box? What was it? Container, the Facebook container. Is it a plugin that we can just download, or is it an automatic update? How does it work exactly?
Yeah, I can put the link to the extension into the chat so you guys can download it. Basically, how it works is it is an add-on. So once you're in Firefox, you download it as an extension, and then every time you're using that browser, it will be there with you. So if we make updates to the add-on or the extension, they will automatically update. I am not sure if the product works with other browsers, like if you're using Chrome. I'm fairly sure that it only works with Firefox at this stage. But most people that I know that use Facebook are using this now so that their data is not being, dripped all over the internet.
Okay.
That answers your question? All right. Any other questions? All right. We seem to be clear here, Raj. Do we have any questions on your side?
Yes, thank you, Debbie. We have Matt having a question here about building a brand is about creating a great story or implementing innovation with technologies.
I mean, I think it's both. I think that at Firefox, we try to use our technology to tell a story. For example, we have a whole emerging technology arm that is working to create ethical versions of virtual reality and mixed reality and voice command that is built with diverse voices. So we stand not only for the purpose of these things, but also the performance of technological products. Consumers don't want to use an inferior product just because it's a not-for-profit. They want products that are really going to perform for them and also that stand for something good that align for their values. So we're trying to do both of those things at once, and it's not easy. But it's really powerful when we get it right.
Thank you, Maura. So this question is from John Miller. What is the medium that Firefox is currently using?
So that is the million-dollar question, literally, for us to think about is actually how can we replace what is a very efficient content marketing engine? And there's a couple things that we're doing. One, we're actually seeing that we are still getting latent download referrers from Facebook because Facebook prompts people to update their browser when they're using Firefox. So we're actually still seeing downloads from Facebook as a referrer channel, which is really interesting. The second thing is we are moving much more into our owned properties, things like email, in product messaging when you open a new tab, our blogs, and of course, looking at other social platforms that align slightly better with our values, things like Twitter, Reddit, and of course, there's other smaller ones. Part of my goal in moving away from Facebook was that it would force us to use those marketing dollars to actually create good things on the internet. And there are a lot of different types of projects that we could put our investments towards, and we're working with our foundation to think about where we can invest to make the internet healthier place for everyone.
Okay. So the next question is from Margaret. What is the most important traffic source for?
I mean, we certainly see a good amount of refers coming down from search. So of course that is a place that people, go in and they type for the brand, and then they're downloading it. We still see pretty strong refers, as I was mentioning before, coming from our homepage. So Mozilla.org is one of the main places where people will go and download our browser. And I don't have the data in front of me to say for sure what is the top source, but I know that those are amongst the strongest. So organic search, our homepage, and then of course we have a performance marketing and growth program that is looking for not only the most efficient and cheapest download, but the most valuable people that we can acquire, so that we end up with people that are going to retain and use our product for the long term.
Okay. So the last question is from Matt Heaven. How is brand building best done using social
media and social marketing is that it's not about the individual channel. It's about a participatory idea and a central insight about your audience. So it's very easy to get caught up in like a content plan. Oh, I need a post for Facebook and I need a post for Pinterest and Twitter, and each platform has to be completely different, and you will drive yourself insane. Instead, what we find is that emotional stories that are built on strong audience insights, they will travel best through social channels. So it sounds really simple, but it's almost like don't start with the channel, start with the insight. And then if you tell the right story, your audience will spread the message for you. That's the way I think about it.
Great. And Maura, we want to also congratulate you, the first speaker during this event. We reached 100 online participants.
Amazing. Thank
and
you.
the state, the auditorium was full. The online auditorium was full.
For inviting
Thank
me.
you very much.
And I will answer a couple
A big round of
other
applause.
questions in the chat as well. So I appreciate your time. And if you want to know more about Mozilla, you can find me on Twitter or on LinkedIn as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Maura, for your time and your great presentation.